Today on the Miniature Models Podcast, we take our seats in the Tavern Car with some friends and reminisce about train adventures past. Tasty drinks, great stories, and lots of laughs. All this and more. So get your ticket from the station, grab a seat, and make sure you don't miss the train. All aboard! Good evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 69 of the Miniature Models Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Matt Rochford. With me, as always, are my co-hosts, Matt Z, John S, and Johnny. How are we all doing tonight, gentlemen?
Not too bad, man. How you doing?
Fantastic, guys. Fantastic. Good to
yes,
be
indeed.
back.
All good on my end as well.
The four amigos are back in business again. So, hey, you guys did a great job last week, I will say, or I should say in our last episode.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, John did awesome. John,
did.
as a new host, you carried that show, dude.
I really appreciate that. I felt I had big shoes to fill, and I did my best. Did my best to give us all a good show.
Matt, you can retire
nice
now. You're
work,
good.
very nice.
We got a new.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness the Miniature Models Podcast 401k kicked in. So
No, we need your nice podcasty ASMR voice, Matt. We can never replace you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, gentlemen, we aren't alone tonight, as we have two returning guests and really good friends. So bringing back to the show here, we have Carmine and Steven. So how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, man. Just excited to be back on the podcast and talk about definitely some adventures we've had this past year.
Good. Glad to be back on. Looking forward to reminiscing about our adventures this year and in past.
Yeah, I think this was probably the most abundant year for folks traveling around, meeting up, having get-togethers and stuff like that. So we definitely have a lot to talk about for sure. So let's go ahead and jump into our check-in segment. So I'm going to go ahead and direct this right to our guests tonight and see what they've been up to in the last week or so. Carmine, what you been up to?
Been staying busy, that's for sure. With Christmas from last week, it was nonstop. Was finishing up a couple of Christmas trains with U.S. Sugar, and then I had to pick up some days at the hobby shop to help them finish out their Christmas year, and just continually working on people's projects. Just a good solid year, but a busy one, and looking forward to next year. That's for sure.
Awesome. Steve, how about yourself?
Yeah, same here. It's been a little busy. It's my busy time of year with the fraternal organizations, getting all of the membership information, dues bills out and whatnot. But on the train side of it, we had 2 weekends down at Nassau Lionel Operating Engineers, Knoll, and the open house was a big success. We had quite a few people. I think it was 2,300 and change came through the door. So that kept us a little busy. And, of course, just a few things around the house on the layout. So,
awesome.
Yep.
All right, good to hear. Mr. John Schwartz, how about you?
I've been good as well. Had a fantastic Christmas. Getting ready for the new year here. As far as being social, had quite a few things recently. Got to spend a lot of time with family. A pretty low-key Christmas this year. Wasn't super busy, which was nice for a change. But looking forward to spending some time with some of my local train friends here. And I've also picked up, just in the past couple of weeks here, 2 more B&O brass locomotives. So I've been fully engorging myself on my foameriness, and it's been a good time. I'm really enjoying myself.
Awesome. Matt Z, how about yourself?
John, talking with you, Isaac and Sid, I never realized how much stuff B&O had.
And how little they've made of it,
the ins
too.
And outs, everything. Holy smokes, you guys get into it. Oh, yeah. And yes, Carmine, I know there's a joke in there. But anyway, for me, I've been working on the layout some. I got the rest of my catenary in, so I now have a full loop of track with catenary on it. It's not live yet, but in due time I will power it and continue to work on the layout. So I got a lot more to do, but we're slowly getting there. And kind of like John, it's kind of been a slow Christmas, which is good enough for me. But hanging with family and just relaxing, so couldn't ask for much more than that.
Mr. Johnny?
I've been really busy since our last show. In fact, once our last show went live, I went out and drove out to Chicagoland, and I picked up my 1630 Decapod, which is an engine I love. To those who listen to the show, you guys are aware that Matt and I are Chicagoans, so the Illinois Railroad Museum is pretty close to us and a place where we like to hang out. And Lionel made 1630, and if you listen to our catalog show, we begged and pleaded for Ryan to go and have the sounds recorded, and Lionel made doing that. They went and recorded the sounds. The engine's fantastic. It runs great, and to convey how much I love it, my Vision Big Boy sits, and I can't take the 1630 off the layout. So it's a fantastic engine, and guys in the Discord have been helping out to help me customize that engine to make it even more accurate to the real engine. I've also been busy hanging out with the Chicago boys here. Last weekend, we went out to Rafe's, to his train bunker. We helped him rewire the layout again because he taken the track off to repaint the tabletop. So we were wiring and hanging out, talking trains. And it's nice to have a kind of like a private club environment too. So that's been a lot of fun. And got some Christmas goodies for my girlfriend for Christmas. Got some Santa Fe passenger cars. I know Matt R. likes the idea of me getting more Santa Fe. But yeah, it's been really nice and hanging out with buddies, and hopefully get to hang out with some other folks soon. So good times. How about you, Matt?
Well, you should be getting Santa Fe from Santa, because that makes sense.
It's the only railroad he's allowed to give. Come on.
Last couple weeks were busy for me as well. Spending time with my family and my daughter, working on the layout, finishing up my mountain/tunnel, which is getting there. I'm now experimenting with some paints and kind of detailing on the mountain, how I want it to look and stuff like that. So first time for everything, and this is kind of my first experience with this. So I'm kind of doing some testing here and there, taking some pictures, going on YouTube, seeing other people do it. It's actually been really, really fun, for sure. Just kind of notching up the experience with, how to do some of that next level landscaping. But other than that, Christmas was really good. I got some gift certificates to some hobby shops. Big surprise there. And some other little knickknacks here and there, shirts, hats, delicious food, all that. All right. Well, speaking of the holidays, here at the Miniature Models podcast, we enjoy getting into the holiday groove. So, of course, we've brought back our annual holiday photo contest. On our community Discord server, we have created a special thread called Photo Contest, where you can post your best holiday train photo for a chance to win a mystery prize. Woo! So, we do ask that you limit one photo per member and have an underlining theme of railroading as well. Deadline for photos is the 31st, so be sure to get those entries in. There's also a general holiday photo thread as well, so make sure you're posting in the correct place. Can't wait to see what y'all come up with. And so far, in the last couple of weeks, there's been a pretty good, I would say, surge of photos in there. And like everyone's photos is looking, both in the, obviously in the photo contest and the general photo. It looks awesome, man. I love the ideas that people are coming up with. Just a disclaimer here, grand prize will not be hand-delivered by Matt Z wearing a mall Santa suit while eating black licorice. All rights reserved. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or any use of the pictures of the account of this episode without the express written consent of the Major League Baseball is printed.
Looking to expand your collection? Check out Trainz.com. Trainz is your go-to place for new and used model railroad products. They have everything ranging from engines, rolling stock, parts, track, and scenery. If you need it, they probably have it. With new discounts being added daily, you'll be sure to find something you like. Plus, Trainz offers a newsletter which keeps you up to date on new items, discounts, and upcoming promotions. We've been using Trainz for years, and we highly recommend their stellar service. What's really cool is you can also collect points by buying Trainz and using them on future purchases. With their awesome rewards program, you can earn points on every purchase that you can use for future discounts. Dedicated modelers can also join their private car membership to get exclusive access to new listings, earn 5 points per dollar spent, and unlock great benefits like no questions asked returns. Trainz not only sells trains, but also buys them too. If you've got a large collection or are interested in downsizing and making some cash, you can head on over to sellmytrains.com. It doesn't get easier than that. You can find them using our affiliate link, www.trainz.com/MMOP, or if you want to use our one-time promo code MMOP, you can get $10 off a single purchase on the Trainz.com website. So check out Trainz.com and start expanding your collection today.
All right, let's get into tonight's discussion and take a trip down memory lane. Since we're all sitting around the Tavern Car, what are you guys drinking tonight?
Okay, I'll go first since nobody said anything.
Do it. Thank you.
Honestly,
I appreciate that.
No problem. Jack and Coke.
All right, good choice.
I'm
Good
drinking
choice.
water.
Anybody else?
I'll have the vanilla.
Oh, boring.
John's lame. Well, I'll do you one better. I'm drinking tea water. I've got Darjeeling tea.
Spicy water.
Nursing a bit of a sore throat. Spicy water.
Spicy water with a kick.
Actually, one of our friends, when he was our buddies at GFW, I think Wally had told us a story that when George was really young, first time he had soda, I think he had like he grabbed like I think a Sprite or a 7-Up when he thought it was water. He'd never had soda before, so he had a bunch of it. And then when Wally finally looked at him, George's eyes are just bugging out of his head, and he says, "I really like the spicy water."
Well, I am drinking Sprite and Amaretto. It's a little mixture I like to make every now and then.
And Amaretto.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So I like Amaretto sours, but, you know, there's obviously a little bit of a time to actually, you know, go to my little setup and make that. But with Sprite and Amaretto, you just pour the Amaretto in on the rocks, and then put the Sprite on top, and you're good to go. It's actually really tasty. It actually has a really refreshing taste to it. Yeah. If you like Amaretto, I suggest you try that. It's really good.
Interesting.
I finished my drink, so right now I'm having nothing, but I just finished cherry
That's a
Pepsi.
very you drink. That's a very you thing to have.
We'll see.
Cherry Pepsi. That's perfectly on brand for you.
What's that? Cherry Pepsi? Yeah.
That's perfectly on brand.
Yes, sir.
You can have milk and Pepsi.
Ugh.
Whose favorite drink was milk and Pepsi?
What?
There's a little quiz for you guys.
Hopefully.
Oh my gosh. Whoever that is should be
I don't want to
look it up
to the moon.
Maybe Steve would know. It was a TV show.
No, I can't say I remember milk and Pepsi.
Yeah.
But tonight I'm drinking water.
All right.
Tomorrow night will be a little different.
Spicy water tomorrow?
I said, yeah, it could be.
Okay, gotcha.
Probably some hot liquor in there. So we'll see.
Well, the answer to the question was Laverne from Laverne and Shirley. So.
Oh, God. Ugh.
Oops.
You know, I was going to say Laverne and Shirley, but I wasn't sure that was the answer, but still. Gross.
All right, so that was the first kind of initial just question, but I do have questions for you guys during the length of this episode as we kind of go on down. And you're going to be visited by 3 question ghosts. Okay.
Oh, God.
This is like the Christmas Carol here.
I'm out. If there's ghosts, I'm out.
You've had your trouble with ghosts before. You're like, nope.
Yikes.
Is Zach Baggins going to be on the show?
Like, hey, Scooby-Doo, like it's a ghost. All right. Right, Raggy.
That was really good, actually, whoever did that.
All right. First question. Your pick for the best engine / train / rolling stock released in 2023. No, I don't want any ties. I don't want any, I can't pick one thing. Just use your gut. What was and you don't have to own this item. Just based on kind of like the whole year and what you've seen on TV, and I'm not TV, but Yeah, because TV, that's where we see all this stuff.
Yeah, Lionel Coin Bank.
Yeah. So based on YouTube and content creators and everything else, what do you think was the best engine and train set rolling stock released in 2023?
Sleigh Bell Limited.
You like the
down.
Sleigh Bell Limited?
That
Matt?
train
No
is
way.
Let me
What?
tell you what. Absolute bro, you no me no. Holy, go figure that out, would you? Bro, Chris RVP showed a picture of just one of the cars, and my response to him was, "I knew I should have ordered that train. I knew I should have ordered it." And I'm kicking myself so bad for getting it. I should have ordered.
I think that was a good choice.
But
yeah,
that was a
beautiful,
great train,
beautiful train
to see in person, because we did get to see that run. Well,
we did.
Or was it? It wasn't the
he
full.
had
Was it the
most
full
of it.
set running,
No,
or was it just the engines?
He had part of it at least.
Yeah, that was really cool. It's a really cool set when it's all put together. It really grabs your attention. It just looked great going around his layout. The horns are very interesting, I will say. It gives was it War of the Worlds vibes when you
They're
hear
French horns, you heathen.
You heathen. Still, it's nice, but it's very odd. If it's so
I
odd
didn't make
choice
the
for
War of
me.
the Worlds connection at first, but now that okay, yep, I see it. Yep, thank you.
I've ruined it for
It's
John.
fine. Oh no, you ruined the Christmas train for me.
This is just probably going to be me being biased, but I will die on the hill. The Hudsons that MTH just made with the whistle smoke.
Ooh,
Those
that's
things
a
are
good choice.
monsters.
That is a very good choice.
And I have one, so I'm kind of biased. But let me tell you something. I ain't seen a better looking Hudson with skull and disc drivers and a PT tender than a black J1E. And that thing's a monster. And then you got Isaac's sound file that he did for it. It's ridiculous. Small children run in fear from it.
That was a really good engine. You're not kidding.
Didn't they make a pacemaker version of that engine?
Yes, they did.
It did.
That
yeah.
one came out really
Chris,
nice.
I think Chris got with that one too, didn't he? Didn't we see that one when we were there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you were admiring
I
it
was
when it was on
foaming
the
over a
siding.
New York Central engine. Who am I?
Well, I'm going to go with the Dreyfus there and
Okay.
the 20th Century Limited. I kept trying to talk myself out of that one, and one night with Sid, he's going, "You got to get it. You got to go for it." And I placed the order that night and had it the next day. So
That was a great train for you to get,
Nice.
Steve. They're like the fact that they did a whole new tooling for that is so nice. It's such a good looking engine.
yeah, I was going to say that's why I like running the two of them together, showing the difference in the tooling. And even though it's a lighter gray, I find it to be the colors just pop on it. And it sort of matches the gray on the pacemaker
I've seen
scheme,
plenty of
so.
photos where they look light colored. So you know what? People need to stop. It looks fine. It's fantastic.
Johnny, I think you and I will probably have the same answer, but I'm gonna see what you say.
Well, before I go to mine, I will say, Steve, when we ran the Empire State Express and your TMCC Dreyfus side by side racing on your layout earlier this year, that was so cool. Like, just you guys racing, trying to get it in sync, and then the perfect shot of them rushing out of the tunnel and screaming past the station. That was such a cool shot. I love that. That was just one of my favorite memories. But in terms of my fair pick, it's like I said before. It's got to be 1630. It's such a small engine, and it's very well done. I know there's people who are going to say it has certain things that are missing. It doesn't have this, or this isn't the right place. And I understand. You know, I've seen the engine in person, ridden behind it many a times, and yeah, I notice those things too. But in terms of innovation, I think it's fantastic. Lionel put a decent chunk of their budget into retooling the Russian decapods for that catalog. And the fact they put the money into it, went out to IRM, recorded the sounds, and actually improved on the MTH version. I've ran the Proto 2, the Proto 3, and the Lionel one is just so much nicer, runs so much better. And not to mention that this is an engine, if you're thinking of the 5 whistles, 5 bells wise, Lionel has had this history of their quillable whistles are really synthetic and very almost harmonic in a way. So they haven't had the throatiness of a real good, actual, accurate whistle. And in this engine alone, you've got 1630s whistle, you have 90s whistle, and you have 765's whistle. 3 actual recordings of whistles in a Lionel engine. And aside from 90, when was the last time you saw Lionel go out and record a new whistle? It's been many, many years since they've done that. So I think this is a big turning point for Lionel, because if they can keep that momentum with better sounds and more focus on accuracy of models that are available and engines that are out there, I think this could be a turning point for them. It's not perfect, but I think it's a good point for the future of the hobby. So, but that's my choice. How about you, Matt R?
Yeah, I mean, I just add a little bit onto that because my pick was also 1630. I think Lionel knocked it out of the park, and especially in the sound department, I think it sounds exactly like it should sound. It wore many whistles right, but right now the whistle it has now, they just did a good job on that, and it's a very personal engine to us Midwest railroaders. Obviously, go to IRM, we see this, the kind of the crown jewel of IRM as far as like small steamers goes, and then Lionel reproduces it. Like, that's just awesome. Mr. John S.
So I'm gonna say maybe not one particular item, but just in general, Lionel kind of killed it with sets this year. I feel like their sets have been getting so, like the high end legacy sets, they've been getting so good lately. They've been doing like all this like research on them, so they're doing these accurate like really exclusive cars to them. You had the Cumberland Valley Way Freight, the Hagerstown Hot Shot was amazing. So they're giving us these really unique, interesting themed sets that give you a lot of value for money and like a really unique train. Plus the box art has been fantastic too. So definitely, I think the best thing we've seen come out of the year for me is the train sets we've been getting, but also the Russian decapods. I'll piggyback off you guys. That's one of the best cases of Lionel improving stuff on the MTH tooling and just doing something really good with what they had to offer. Like you guys said, going out and recording 1630, they knew they had to do that engine right because you guys love that engine so much as Midwesterners. So they knew they had to do that sucker right. But yeah, I would say the Russian decapods and the train sets. We just got a really cool bunch of stuff this year. It was a good year.
Yep. Yeah, especially in this last quarter, this fourth quarter. Holy cow. And that's kind of like par for the course, right? Like a lot of, stuff comes in the fourth quarter. But I agree with you 100%, John. Like, there's been a lot of great stuff all year round. From
yeah,
all
absolutely. Again,
right?
MTH with the Hudsons. My God.
Atlas and Lionel. Yep.
Kind of piggybacking off of what you guys are saying here, since we're on the 1630 train right now. So this year, in terms of adventures, we went from, at least from the Midwesterners' perspective, we went from going to the East Coast a lot to go, visit folks, to a lot of folks actually came out to see us this year. We had Sid come visit us in March earlier this year, and then Maddie C and Roman and then Bill B came to visit, and then we actually took them out to IRM during the first day that they were open this year, which was a culture shock to Roman, because it was per Chicago weather, beautiful in the 80s shorts weather for Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday it was snowing. So Roman didn't know how to handle himself with the snow. He was freezing and dying. And we rode the interurbans in the snow. And then we actually got a chance to properly host everyone, our buddies from the East Coast during our first proper get-together, which was Chi-Town Boogaloo. And Carmine and Steve were there with us as well. Steve has come to Chicago and hung out with us a couple of times and has been out for Chicago for other trips with, I believe, the LCCA. And then Carmine, this was your first chance getting to hang out with us in person. So what did you guys think for IRM? I know, Steve, you was like as a returning visitor, and Carmine was like visiting IRM for the first time.
Steve, you want to go first?
You can go first. I'll pick up.
So coming from somebody who comes from Florida, and we have a very minuscule amount of trains, anything here outside of theme parks, pretty much in most cases. It was definitely a culture shock. I mean, you can look at these places on YouTube and TV and Google all this kind of stuff, and when you're there and you're actually among the stuff and you're able to climb on things and talk to people and do all this stuff, it's definitely an eye opener to how many other states, with the exception of Florida, really love and appreciate, their railroads and their railroad history and stuff. And I mean, as it should be, Chicago was a railroad hub and still is a railroad hub. Us down south here, we got Florida East Coast, Atlantic Coastline, and CSX pretty much, and ACL's pretty much gone, merged into CSX. But IRM, just alone, their collection and the caliber of what they have is really astonishing. I've never seen a museum where they run diesel, steam, and electric all in one shot. I mean, the amount of continuity and cooperation between the people that are dispatching the trains and stuff is insane. I mean, to be able to walk in and just see a Shay crawling in front of you with a couple of cabooses was cool. But then when you get to see that gleaming E-unit with the Zephyr and the 1630 and the trolley cars and the electric buses and stuff, it was so cool. Just the amount of collection. I mean, you guys were telling me the size of the car barns and like what's in them, and I'm like, there's no way all these things are fitting in these barns. And then when you walk into these car barns and you see like a Milwaukee Road Northern, and then there's a Y3, and then there's Mikados and GG1s, and you're just like, holy crap. And like, we weren't even scratching the surface of apparently what you guys were telling me, because we ran out of time. We got there kind of late, but it was such a cool experience, and it was much more of a fun experience to be able to share it with you guys, people that are native to that area, and you guys kind of know the ins and outs, and you guys know certain people in certain aspects, and it was such a fun experience, and I really cannot wait to do it again, and maybe try a different spot, whether it's, Long Island or maybe even eventually out in California. But Chicago is definitely on my list to stop again. I loved everything about it up there. The weather, the hospitality of everybody, and just the whole atmosphere of everything up there was just a 10 out of 10 for me.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was such a fun time having you up there for the first time.
It was.
Steve, how'd you enjoy it?
Well, I've been out there quite a few times, and I got to say, this was special to see so much equipment out and operating. Usually you'll see maybe 3 or 4 different pieces that'll be out on a particular day. So, multiple visits, you get to see some more of the collection. But, when we were there that day, that was just awesome to see all of the different equipment out and operating, and to be able to even ride on it. The number of barns with the amount of equipment that is stored in them. I've been there, I think, like 6 times, and spent a good portion of, a day there each time, and you still don't get to see everything that's there. Their collection is probably one of the largest in the country, especially with what's operational. Being a member of the museum over in Pennsylvania, I know we've got quite a bit of equipment there, but very little of it's operational. So it's always nice to be able to see the equipment actually operating as it did in its day. Also, you were talking, Carmine, down in Florida. I mean, Long Island here, we have our rail commuter service. Little bit of freight, but not much. So definitely the amount of equipment that's on the island that would be in a museum is minuscule. So it is always nice to visit these museums in other states, and really get to see what railroading history looks like. So, we talk about, that's the fun part of this hobby, is the social end of it. The people that I have met over the years in this hobby and in the railroading industry, it definitely it's an experience, and I've got a lot of friends here that work the local railroad, and as they're aging out, they're starting to pass along some of their memorabilia. And I know some of you guys have seen what's down in the basement and whatnot. But yeah, it's always nice to preserve and keep that for future generations.
So, from a Midwesterner standpoint, from a Chicagoan's point of view, we know what Carmine and Steve think visiting and for the first time and coming back. But Matt R., this is probably the first time. I know you've been to IRM before this year, but this is the first time we properly dragged you back to the museum to experience it with us. And I remember you were in complete shock of how much stuff was there. I mean, the first day you were there, they were doing with RPO demonstration with the BN executive unit. We did the dinner train for Shay It Forward on Nebraska Zephyr, where we met Joe Stackler, and in the 75 operating pieces of equipment for 75 years of IRM. You and I stood outside in the rain, sun, fog for many hours just to see the Little Joe run. What was it like for you going back after so long?
Well, first of all, yeah, you're right. I did. It had been a while since I had been back there, and then of course, the month I choose to go back, I go back like 2 times, the 2 following weekends as well. So I went there like 3 times in a row, which was obviously fantastic. And you're right, they had different activities each time we went back. But it was, God, it's so cool there for somebody who's just into rail fanning and loves seeing all kinds of engines from, older engines to stuff that's modern. I mean, like IRM has like everything. It's kind of ridiculous the amount of variety that they have there. I mean, what do they have, like 90, freaking electric engines? Like, that's crazy. Like, where is all this stuff at? It's like, and they have obviously they have a large amount of land there and a lot of buildings where they keep kind of everything kind of covered in, stuff like that. But I was very, very impressed. And, just a really quick memory of IRM. I grew up way out there. I didn't grow up in Union, but I grew up in Marengo, which was the town next to Union. So, and I remember going there as a kid, and I believe we were I believe it was a trolley. And I remember, or is it interurban? I don't remember exactly, but I remember going down that main line there. And I remember the conductor or the engineer actually let me drive it. I was able to hold the throttle and stuff like that. And that's just what a fantastic memory as a kid. And then just going back there, a couple months ago, and that memory kind of hit me as we got out of the car and we were kind of walking toward, the gate and stuff like that. And I was like, God, I love this place. Like, just so many memories you can make here. And it's better, obviously, when you go with your friends, so you can share, all the good memories and ride all the stuff together and have fun and laugh. So yeah, I can't recommend it enough for folks who come to Chicago, the Chicago area. And if you've never been there, please go there. It is not very expensive at all compared to what you get out of it and the price to get in. And to be honest with you, I think it's actually better even just to get a membership there because, I think you go for as many times as you go. I think if you pay 3 separate times to go, I think that's the price of an annual membership. Plus you're donating to obviously a museum. They use those funds to support everybody who goes there because obviously people are, the workers and stuff that are there are volunteers. A lot of them are volunteers. And they put in their own personal time to keep IRM, up and running. So kudos to them as well. So shout out to our friend Tim, who was a volunteer there.
I want to have a final thing to ask on the IRM side of things. I don't want this podcast just to be a love letter to the museum, no matter how much I love that place. But there are other topics I want to touch upon tonight. Carmine, I think you'll be a great segue for this. So you got to have a really unique experience during Showcase weekend. Just for context, gents, and for our listeners, we took the guys out there during Showcase weekend when it was 24 hours straight of operations at IRM. So we were there till midnight, and we rode the Nebraska Zephyr at midnight for context. But yes, Carmine got a very unique experience because of his other experiences in railroading, that he got to have that chance at IRM. Would you be able to tell us about what that experience was and what events led up to that moment?
Sure. So just a little bit of context. If you guys do know about me and stuff, you do know that I'm involved in Disney with the Carolwood Society and different things like that with the railroads. And I just recently got hired by FMW with U.S. Sugar, so I'm officially on the crew for the U.S. Sugar 148, which is a Pacific steam locomotive built by Alco in 1920, and that's our steam excursion down here towards the south. And when the Chicago trip came up, I actually started to be taught how to fire the 148. You know, I was getting cross trained on it. And when I was going to go up to Chicago, one of my buddies from Disney shoots me a text message, and he's like, "Hey, you're going up to Chicago, right?" And I'm like, yeah. He's like, "Ask for Joey." And I'm like, "Who the hell is Joey?" Like acting all like suspicious and like whatever. And he's like, "Trust me, when you go to IRM, ask for Joey. Tell him JD sent you." I was like, okay, sounds like a mobster deal, but whatever. So we went up to IRM, and you know, we went through the whole museum, you know, in the allotted time that we had, and we're gonna get ready to run get on the train for 16:30. And I was telling Tim, who's one of the guys in our Discord, and Tim's actually the volunteer at IRM. I said, "Hey, I'm looking for Joey. My friend JD said, look for Joey. And Tim was like, "Oh, Joey should be up front with 16:30. Come on, I'll walk up there with you." So me and him were walking up, and we're trying to find Joey. And the engineer's up in the cab of 16:30. And I shouted at the guy, I'm like, "Hey, where's Joey?" He's like, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Carmine." And he goes, "Oh, you're Carmine." I was like, "Yeah, where's Joey?" He's like, "He should be coming back up. Just stand there." He's like, "How do you know Joey?" I'm like, "I know him through JD, you know, because now it's at the point now where I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. So it can't get any more Italian than this in the middle of Chicago." And eventually Joey comes up, and I meet Joey, and my other buddy told Joey all about me and what I do and all that kind of stuff. And you know, made friends, and I made sure I greased the right palms. I brought a handful of the U.S. Sugar 148 pins that we have for the engine crew out there. And, you know, no matter who you are as a railroader, everybody likes pins. So I slid each of them a pin, and next thing I know, Joey's like, "Come on up." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" He's like, yeah, you're going to ride the footplate with us. I was like, okay, cool. So we went up into the footplate, right? We're sitting there. And this is my first experience on anything coal burning. Everything I've dealt with and I've had my hands in has been oil fired. And, you know, I'm just sitting there and we're waiting for our clear signal. And after about, Johnny, what would you say, 10, 15 minutes, all the rest of these guys are riding in maybe the RPO car and stuff with Tim.
Yep.
We get our clearance signal and we pull out of the station. We pretty much clear the area. And Joey looks at me and goes, "You fire 148, right?" I'm like, yeah, I'm learning. Why? He goes, "You ever fired coal?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "You're going to do it today." So this man just handed me the shovel and was like, "Go at it." So needless to say, my first experience at IRM, I got put to work, and it was the fun kind of work. So I actually got to fire and throw coal and all that stuff on 1630 for almost the entire trip. And it was a great time up until we were coming back to the station, and it was 50 degrees, and it started pouring rain as we're doing 30 mile an hour in reverse. And I am in cargo shorts and a t-shirt, and I am soaking wet. But I wouldn't trade a minute. It was so much fun the entire time. And that definitely was the icing on the cake for me, for that whole IRM experience, because I really wanted to see the Shay. But you know what? As a consolation prize, I'll take a cab ride in 1630 all day. And it definitely was one of the fun and most unique experiences of my life. And it was something that I will always, always remember. And I wouldn't change it for the world.
And that was at night too, wasn't it?
That was indeed at night.
Oh, man. Oh, God. That's so wonderful. You get to be in the cab of a steam engine working at night. That must be
it was so magic. John, it was so freaking cool, man. It was so cool. Like, I could hear the bald eagle screeching as I'm in the cab of that thing. Just the amount of America in that one small moment was phenomenal.
You're not kidding. Yeah, I can't wait to go up to IRM. It's you guys.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are so lucky out there having that thing right in your backyards. And I can't wait to get down to Florida too, Carmine. You got some fun stuff down there too, from what I.
Oh yeah, dude. We got a ton of good stuff down here.
I'm looking forward to it. That's so cool. I love that you got to do that, man.
That's awesome. Actually, John, I'm going to throw the mic over to you. What are your highlights for the year? You went to a couple of events that I didn't get to.
Can I cut in really fast?
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up something for Carmine.
Okay, go for it.
Carmine, that's awesome. I'm really glad that you got to do that. But I want to know where my freaking pin is at.
Oh, well, the thing is, you don't work at IRM, and I only brought enough pins for the engine crew.
I see how it is.
So maybe if you're nice to me, maybe one will find its way in the mail because I have a bunch more now.
I appreciate that.
You better give Tim one because he's probably sitting there listening.
Yeah, give Tim one, please, before you give me one.
I don't remember if I gave Tim one or not. I might have, but I'll be honest with you, I don't remember.
I'm only pulling your chain, of course. I'm just kidding.
No, I know you are.
I do like pins, though. I'll let you know that. So.
For sure.
Oh, man.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Johnny.
Yeah, no worries, man. But yeah, I'm going to throw the mic over to John. So, John, you went to a couple adventures that I didn't get a chance to take part of this year. Which ones were some of your favorites from 2023?
Oh man, good lord! Yeah, we did a lot of stuff. Although I missed all the Chicago stuff, unfortunately, just did not work out this time around. Looking forward to changing that next year. Yeah, no, we had a ton of good times. I got to hang out with a lot of my local buddies. We did some RBP visits. We did some what else? We also did some. We went to my favorite thing probably from the whole year, apart from our York visits, which we did. We all got to hang out on those. Was going to New York and hanging with Steve and everybody up there. You guys came out from the Midwest, where that was super fun, and we got to do what did we call it? The Big Apple something, the Big Apple Jamboree. That was a lot of fun getting to do the NLOE layout, and Steve being an amazing host as he always is. And yeah, that was probably the one of the best trips we did. But yeah, we had a lot of good fun this year. Tons of fun stuff. No cab riding for me, unfortunately, this time around. Nothing to that level of enjoyment. That's next level. But yeah, no, I had a really good year overall. I love any time I get to be social with any of you guys in person is such, because we just get to, because we're, going through our daily lives. We don't really talk about this with the lay people. So when we get to just nerd and foam out together and just, watch videos and talk about experiences and run trains and go places and see stuff, it's such a great opportunity to just, it's so memorable, and it's really something that I always look forward to. It, the whole, there's a saying I always try to say, you always have to have something to look forward to. So I really, really enjoyed the time that I got to spend with you guys this year, and I'm looking forward to spending more time going new places next year and seeing even more stuff.
Being on the island was so much fun, and kudos to Steve for being such an amazing host for us that weekend. That was a trip I was looking forward to, and it exceeded all expectations. Just being out to chill at Steve's place, and he has such an awesome little man cave down there of like the different layouts, the scale layout, the post-war style layout with standard gauge, the ceiling layout, the slot machines, it's all of it, the jukebox. It's all so much fun. And the guy getting to hang out with guys and run trains in a small environment is so much fun.
Oh yeah.
You get to, and it gives you a chance to really joke around and be able to talk with people one-on-one and really form that bond. It's not all serious. It's just chilling. It's just hanging out, running trains and having fun. And I know, go for it.
I was gonna say, I also loved having you guys out for the fact that you guys came out to hang out with us down here in our area in my hometown was so nice that you guys made the trip. When we came out to York, you guys came south for a bit and hung out with us, and we just shoot the breeze around town and everything, and we had such a good time going, like getting to show you guys the local stores and everything, and going to the local little hot spots and just old train places, and then getting to do our layout tours was so nice. I'm so happy that you guys came down. Like, what's the quote from Zoidberg from Futurama? You never know what's in town until people from out of town come to visit.
Exactly.
You never visit the local places.
That's exactly what it is. But yeah, it was so much fun. Being on the island was great. And like I said, Steve, thank you so much for hosting us. I know it's a lot of work to host that many guys at once, but you went above and beyond, and I can't wait till we can do it again. We're really looking forward to it.
The island is the best.
Yes.
I was glad everyone could make it. One of my favorite moments was when we were all sitting in the living room at, what was it, maybe 2, 3 in the morning, and we're just sitting around talking about different things, Or earlier that night, everybody gathered around the TV watching the train videos and whatnot. That was just an awesome event. Going down to Knoll and whatnot, even though we had a little controversy over that, it all worked out in the end. Our visit to Trainland, actually. That was another exciting event. Over to Matty C's layout. We had, I got to say, Matty worked hard on getting that all organized, and it's always nice to, be involved in the planning, but to see it come to fruition is really something special. So I was glad everyone could make it, and we really did have a lot packed in that weekend.
We did. You guys gave me an amazing birthday party that I wasn't even expecting too, which was freaking insane to have that on top of everything else. So big ups to you guys, Maddie, you, Steve, and Blake and everybody else who participated in that. That was so sweet of you guys to do. And yeah, the coordinating with, the amount of planning you guys have to do to have that many people is insane, but you guys take it in stride because everybody up there is so friendly.
100%. I think from the late night conversations, what we did when we were sitting around in your living room at it was 2, 3 in the morning, Steve. I think the one that still sticks with me was when you were talking about your kitchen, I think, and how your wallpaper just said the word kitchen over and over again.
Yeah, I brought up the photos of that and whatnot. It was amazing when we first moved in and how certain things have been changed. There's still a lot that remains, to what it was when it was originally built, but parts of it have been modernized and, a little bit of extensions added here and there. But yeah, I look back, it's over 40 years in this place, so a lot of memories.
For sure. I think one of my favorite memories from when you guys are out here with us, actually, is just watching you guys play in the layout when you guys are at my house. I think, Carmine, I don't know I think that was a new experience for you, just running trains with guys around our age. And you doing the crane puzzle and just having fun with the TMCC crane, or you and Steve losing your minds over the switching puzzle. That was just fun to watch.
I was ready to pick up your layout and throw it through the wall with the switching puzzle. But other than that, everything was so much fun. The whole experience was great, especially when you're with a bunch of like-minded people. I don't have a lot of my buddies down here in South Florida, I have my car friends, I have my airplane friends, but I don't have a whole bunch of train friends, so to say. And it's cool to be able, we talk on the Discord all the time, but it's awesome to be able to be around you guys. And it's like having the Discord in real life. And that's what's great about it, because then you can share these experiences in person and you guys can talk about all these different things in person. And, you hear each other's voices and you see pictures, but it's nice to be able to put an face to a lot of the names and stuff like that, and that's the beauty of these meetups. And I can honestly tell anybody who wants to do something like this, get out there and do it, because you guys, you have the ability to make lifelong friends with this kind of hobby, because trains are a very tight-knit group of people, especially model trains. And you guys have become some of my closest friends in the last few years that I've known you guys. We get along with everything, and we all have very common interests, and not necessarily trains in general, but it's a great time. And we all have very thick skin. Like me and Steve gave each other crap for hours, and Steve just gives it right back to me. And that's what I love about it.
You and
I gotta
you
say,
Steve,
that
great
was
team.
enjoyable. Just bantering back and forth.
Oh, 100%. You and Steve are such a great dynamic duo that I never expected, but I love so much. You guys are a riot to be around each other. It's great. And then hobby shop hopping too is a completely different experience when you're with friends as well. Like Steve had mentioned, we'd gone to one of the hobby shops out there, and we took you guys out to Renault's European Imports out here, and you guys were there for hours. Like you and Carmine, you and the owner and Ray hit it off like immediately.
Dude, the school hobby shop, is that the one we're talking about? The school hobby shop?
Yep. So for those who don't know, Renault's European Imports is a local shop out near us. It's in Elburn, I think. And the hobby shop itself is located in an old, like, downtown bank. There's actually a bank vault in the back, and it specializes entirely of European, like Marklin and German and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And if you guys are trying to get your Eastern Front Railroad on, that's the place to do it.
But it doesn't stop there, because that's all most of the HO and Scale, Z, all that stuff. But with that hobby shop, they also acquired this huge collection of O-Scale. It's like giant warehouses worth of brand new or very little, basically new O-Scale stuff that's TMCC era, Legacy, Proto 2, Proto 3, Proto 1, all that stuff that they're selling. But there's so much of this stuff that they actually have to keep it off-site down the street at an old, like, elementary school that turned into a community center. It's like a whole classroom.
And everything's in boxes. Everything's brand new, which is crazy.
But it wasn't just O-Scale. It was the standard gauge, which is what I came home with.
Yeah, and G-Scale. They had G-Scale. They had everything. And his shop was, honestly, Johnny, like the bank part about it was really cool. But what was amazing to me is the amount of stock he had, not necessarily with the European stuff, but just like in the school, just the stuff he had was crazy, man. It was stuff. He had a sealed Lincoln funeral train. Like, the stuff he had, like, it was crazy, his inventory.
Oh, for sure. How many places can you honestly that you've been at, aside from when this stuff is brand spanking new, where you see almost every Vision big boy from the first run, every Challenger that was done recently, all the Ox Tenders that they ever made, and then like a bunch of Vision GSs on just one shelf. Yeah,
you don't see it.
But oh my god, you guys were sweating bullets when you guys were walking there. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I walked out with spending the least amount of money, so I was proud of myself. But adulting, unfortunately.
Right, but the other guys, oh my god.
Oh yeah. They got robbed, and it makes sense because they were at a bank, so it was kind of like the bank was robbing them back.
I think one of my favorite photos we took during that hangout was because, like I said, the O-Scale stuff is in an old, like, elementary school. It's the photo of Steve stuffing you in a locker.
Yes.
Yeah, that was funny, but it was appropriate. I was just storing some of my funds in a bank vault there.
It's so much fun, and it like I said, it's so much fun. You go to a hobby shop with friends. I know, John, you and Steve, you, Steve, and Sid have done that. I know you and Sid do that quite often too.
Oh yeah, no, we have a good time locally here. We do have a few hobby shops left, thankfully, and so we like to go around and spend time and just see what's there, and just, you know, talk about all the different models. I mean, it's like you guys have said, it's so much more fun to go with somebody in person and be able to, you know, I learn stuff all the time going to these places about, you know, new models and stuff I didn't know existed, and then showing them things I think are cool, and just, you know, and then of course the vicarious making other people purchase things so you don't have to thing is always fun. I got you guys to do that a bit when we were when you came out here to Maryland and DC, which was great. Matt, getting some of your new, those really cool, what yellow bonnet diesels you got. I love those things. I've been seeing those things in that shop for so long before you bought those. And it's like, they're just waiting for you. You know, these things, people come from out of town. It's like, hey, that was meant to be. I love moments like that.
You know, I think just to kind of segue into, just for folks who do want to have adventures like this for themselves, we've been recommending this on the podcast for many years now, and I'm gonna say it again. York is the place to go if you want to start diving into big train shows and get a chance to meet a lot of the people that you look up to or you watch in the hobby. You know, Eric, RBP, Jason Stuckert, you know, those guys go to York all the time. And if you want to meet people like that, that is the place to do it, you know. And speaking of, like how John said, you know, living vicariously through your friends and peer pressure each other to buy trains. I mean, what better place to do it than York? I mean, John, you and I had a blast hanging out with Sid this year at the show. It's what I was looking forward to the most, and it was a blast. I really enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, when the three of us get together, it's always we are terrors. We have such a good time.
And we made Matt R spend some money there and buy some HO stuff.
Yes, we did.
You know, it's a predominantly O-scale show.
Yeah, we're completely safe on that because then, he has to buy all of it because he's the one that does it. So we're completely safe. He won't show us, but, you have to buy this HO. Nope. All you.
I got bullied the year before in O-scale, and I'm still bullied in HO scale. So
they do that a lot, don't they, Matt?
There's no safe place for me.
If we don't,
no, there's no safe place. They bully everybody.
If we don't bully you into buying things, we don't care.
You seem to really enjoy yourself this year with the layout tours that we did and the people and places we stopped this year, Matt R.
Oh, I did. I love going to visit other people's layouts. Mainly just obviously for the social side of it, but also to see like a lot of times what you see on camera, and I think we can all relate to this as well, is like, especially when you go over to like a YouTube content creator's house, you see their layout on the videos all the time. But when you actually go to see, when you go down there and you're actually looking at their actual environment, you're like, oh wow, I didn't realize it looked like this. Like just, because, we had a chance to visit RBP, and he just has a really cool setup. I love what he has set up down there, and it's big enough for a lot of people to kind of like spread out, and some people were on one side of the bridge and some people were on the other. But yeah, I really enjoy going and visiting other layouts, and of course, especially the and you'll have to remind me of the name of it. I do apologize, but
the Susquehanna Club.
Yes, the Susquehanna Club. That was awesome. I was very, very impressed with their layout, especially since they had a O-scale layout on the bottom, and then you go upstairs and there's just this giant HO layout. I'm like, oh, this is unbelievable. I've never seen like a double-decker, multi-scaled, area layout like that before. So that was really, really cool.
Wasn't that formerly a church?
Yeah, it was. Yep. And the kicker here is the HO layout was there first, and it was always upstairs. And then the O-scale came later downstairs.
It was the desire of God. It was the will of the Lord.
Steve, what did you think of it? You were there with us.
Yeah, that HO layout up there was amazing, the way you wandered through, and then they had added on another piece from another layout, which featured another, turntable and whatnot. But yeah, it was interesting inside a church, and yet it was a fun place. You could enjoy the upstairs. Yeah, I knew what it was in its heyday for the church, but now to have the layout up there and downstairs with the O-gauge modular style layout, which they're working on. It was just really nice, and a very nice bunch of guys willing to talk to you, and they allowed us running trains on their layout, which was nice.
Oh, 100%. All the guys were there. Kudos to them. They were all so inviting, so very hospitable with us, letting us run trains in their layout and getting us food to make sure we're all well fed and had drinks all around. They were great. Everyone was so friendly, and they were just also inviting as well. So I really hope we can visit them again next year, because they're just all fantastic people, every single one of them. There's also one other thing I wanted to touch on here, and then we can kind of wind down for the night. Steve, you've had quite a lot of adventures over the years with other groups, and before us even. I know in past shows you mentioned you actually got a chance to ride behind 844. Were there any other adventures that you were able to take through groups like that you can recall that really stand out to you?
Yeah, like I said, with the 844, we were supposed to be behind the Challenger, but they never got her running. So we actually was inside the boiler of the Challenger. UP gave us complete access to anything on the grounds there. And they said the 2 times that I rode behind 844, they said we took such good care of their equipment, more so than their own employees. And they were always warm and welcoming. And I had a feeling if we'd have had our LCCA convention in Omaha, had COVID not happened, we would have rode behind, the big boy, 4014. But we're doing Omaha, I think it's next year. So there's a good chance we might get to see Big Boy in action. I've been out to California with the LCCA. I used to go up in Vermont, and now all of those trains have been transferred to Scranton, PA. That used to be the Bellows Fall Railroad, and now the equipment's up there. Riding behind some of their equipment is nice. But like I said, most of these other places, museums, I'll have maybe 1 or 2 pieces that are operational, and the rest you're looking at static displays. It's always nice when you find, like at the IRM, where you can actually ride every time you go on different equipment and whatnot. Definitely, big part of it, as well as, different conventions, the people you meet, the friends you develop over the years, and I keep in contact with a bunch of them. Some of them are on YouTube, some Facebook, others, it's just the normal by mail or whatnot, and then when we get together for the annual convention. But, lifetime friendships have been developed. In fact, one of the guys, he travels a lot, and it's with his university he graduated from. And he asked me to go on a trip with him, and everyone in the group was trying to figure, were we in the service together, or how did we meet? And the 2 of us go, no, it's through model railroads and whatnot. But we've formed a lifelong friendship. He comes out here to visit me, and I go out to see his layout and whatnot. So that's definitely, the biggest part of the hobby is the friendships and getting together.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Steve. That is exactly it.
That's so fantastic.
100%. And I couldn't ask for a better group of guys to be buddies with. Honestly, I know we say this almost every other episode, but I knew nobody before 2020. I did my hobby by myself. I was very ignorant to the world that was around me in terms of model railroading. And then I joined a couple of Discords, and I have all of you to thank for my involvement in the hobby and how much this has changed for me. It means so much, and a lot of my enjoyment comes from it. I couldn't ask for a better group of friends.
Appreciate that, Johnny.
Yep, I agree. I think my Discord friends list went up like 500% in 2020. Yep.
Yeah, plus one. I know I've been kind of a mute this whole show, but now I've been listening to what all you guys have been saying, and it sounds like you guys all had quite the adventures, and kind of like Johnny said, I couldn't ask for a better group of friends. Really, thank you guys, and to all you guys listening too.
100%. That's right. 100%.
People are what make this hobby great. We gotta get you involved, Matt Z, too. You gotta come down and hang with us, man.
Yeah.
I do. I keep, I watch all your videos and I hear all the stories and whatever else. I'm thinking, man, I gotta get down there. One of these days, I'm gonna do that. One of the next meetup you guys have, I'm gonna have to have a look at doing that. I know Johnny and I have been talking, the late 3 a.m. calls and be like, hey, we gotta get you down here. I know. But I will do it for sure. So one day you'll see me out here.
I get to see Steve next week. I get to see John in March. And then when we do Chi-Town Boogaloo 2024, you better be down here.
Yes.
Hey, we'll make it happen, buddy.
Yeah, it's on the show.
It's on record, too.
You have to do it.
No, it's on record.
Matty, he has to have fun with us.
Want to support your favorite O-Scale podcast and rock some awesome merch? Well, now you can. We've teamed up with Redbubble.com and have come up with a great selection of gear that you can get right now. They have everything from shirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, bags, you name it. Heck, you can even get a wall clock with us on it. All this great stuff and more at Redbubble.com. Links are down in the show notes, so grab yourself some gear and rock some awesome podcast merch. I'm cutting in here with my second question, guys. I told you there was 3 questions. So, your pick for the most influential model railroading content creator on any platform in 2023. This is not a popularity contest, nor is this who puts out the most content. Just tell me, use your gut, who do you think was the most influential, or at least to you, who was the most influential model railroading content creator for 2023 on any platform?
Well, I'll go ahead. I don't want to be this guy, but I'll be honest with you. The videos I found the most entertaining are probably Johnny's. You know, he puts a lot of work into his stuff, and the entertainment's there for sure. And his weathering work has just become bar none some of the best I've seen. And I just thoroughly enjoyed Johnny's videos, to be honest with you.
That is
You
a
flatter me,
fantastic,
Carmine.
excellent.
That's very
Fantastic
kind
answer.
of you.
Yep.
I'm going to piggyback off that if I may, and also say probably it's going to be a tie between Johnny and Sid, because I'm just such close buddies with Sid just locally. We do a lot of stuff together. And he puts out really interesting, unique content. All his I love discussing with him. He and I will be in DMs and stuff, just talking about weird projects to do and stuff, like resurrecting flooded locomotives and just all this crazy stuff. But yeah, I would say, Johnny, you have done a lot for the community this year in terms of the weathering stuff. God, dude, you stop all the photos. It's so good. You make me have to weather my whole fucking fleet. Oh,
Facts. 100% facts.
Do it.
I need to. And then also Blue Nami. You and Sid on the Blue Nami stuff, man. I got my local shop guy who is this old, been in the business 30 plus years, is very apprehensive of anything new. He 180'd so hard when he saw it in person and loved it. It's such an interesting new thing. And you and Sid have been great ambassadors for bringing that to just everybody in the community who doesn't really know about it. It's that combined with the great photos. I mean, we've seen people starting to emulate. Let's say more than 2-syllable words accurately. People emulating your visual style in terms of your photos. I mean, I've seen it. I'm it's fantastic. I mean, what do they say? The greatest form of flattery is imitation. So the fact that I've been seeing that, the weathering, making me want to do it, the Blue Nami, I'm going to say, yeah, it's a pretty close tie between you and Sid there for 2 most influential.
Well said.
You guys are way too kind. I really appreciate the kind words, guys. I'm
you do
flattered,
a lot,
genuinely.
man. You do a lot of work for the community.
I appreciate that. It's a hard one for me to say because everyone in this hobby does so much for the future of it.
Yep.
And it's hard for me to say. I definitely appreciate Sid a lot for being my partner in crime when it comes to Blue Nami stuff. Well, when we were at York, I was peddling Blue Nami to anyone who would give me, the time of day, and that was really fun. And I really appreciate him collabing with me and doing all that this year, to the point where we got Soundtrack's attention as well. That was a high point for us. But really, I think it's the trio, of RBP, Jason Stucker, and Eric, not to mention, Chris Montagna, all those guys, they're the ones who are really leading the charge. Obviously they have the highest, sub count and all that, and they have the limelight, but they put in the work though. Chris Montagna put so much work into all this stuff on the back end for TCA and Classic Toy Trainz and stuff like that, pushing out so much content. RBP and Jason and Eric really growing their communities and spreading positivity too. You know, really showing the
Yep.
fun in Trainz. You know, we
Yeah.
get so locked into the world of a scale modeling and rivet counting, and we get lost in that. And I know these are our models, but they're also toys at the same time. And it's really easy to get lost in the world of, well, this isn't like this. Why isn't we don't have this? You know, they're trains, and sometimes
Always
you just
remember,
let them
Johnny,
run.
they were toy trains before they were model trains.
100%.
They're still
And
toys
everyone
now.
has a right to yeah,
Yep.
everyone has a right to their opinion, and a product should be, you know, as it should be. And you have every right to voice that concern. But at the same time, don't forget to kick back and have fun. And those guys really push for that. Like, Eric's made a lot of really fun videos. Chris always has a huge smile on his face. And Jason, the comedy he puts into it, how informative he is, it's so much fun. And those guys rock at what they do. And I really hope, and not to mention the panels they do at York as well.
I was just going to say,
You know, they
panels,
really
look at the
deserve
crowds they draw, man. Seriously.
Yep.
Yep. And that's the thing. You know, we always hear the hobby's dying, kids don't care. No, we have to shift our focus to promote it on social media, and those guys are rocking it.
I don't disagree with anybody that you chose. I'm gonna pick Peachy. She has brought like a pretty new perspective that we haven't had in O-Scale, and she does a lot of like all kinds of O-Scale categories. Obviously, you know, she does like command control, post-war, like she's just doing all kinds of stuff. And I think she's definitely sprouted up pretty quickly over this year, especially in 2023, from being somebody new to the hobby, and then obviously just like really taking off and influencing a lot of people, and making O-Scale like really fun to be in. And you don't have to have expensive stuff, and you don't have to have a super huge layout, and you don't have to have a million trains to have fun in this hobby. So again, my kudos goes to her, but obviously every answer here has been correct.
That's Matt R. She is one of the nicest, friendliest, and most enjoyable people to talk to in person. I got to meet her at what was it? I think Detroit, and also she was also in
Chris's.
At Chris. Yes, she is such a wonderful person and brings such great energy to the hobby. I'm totally with you on that too.
For me, I got to go with, I mean, like I said, all you guys, Johnny especially, the way you do the videos, and I said it when I was watching your Blue Nami video, just the way you present the product it's so good. And I'll tell you, I really enjoy watching that video. It was just a really good video. But listen, everybody does, great videos, so I guess if I had to pick, it's, everybody, Chris's, Jason, Eric, and Nick PGH, he does things, he does videos, and can't go wrong with him too. But I think my pick is Sid. He really, the projects he's done, and just his technical expertise, I guess, is just fantastic, and the knowledge he has is just crazy. Him and I will, be on call, late nights and whatever, just talking about, all kinds of, technology and command and this and that. And it's crazy. And to think, kind of like what John said, the projects he's done. I actually own one of those. He sold me his A2 Burke that was in the flood with the GG1, and the thing was gross on the inside and on the outside, and he cleaned it up. The thing was brand new, and that was kind of the shocking thing to him, and especially me too. The thing had, I think he said, like 3 minutes on it or something. It had like nothing on it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! That this engine. I'm like, holy smokes, But no, I love it. It's really nice, and it's got quite the story, and it's got the battle scars to go along with it. So it's a fun engine, and you know what? It's an A2, so can't go wrong with one of those. #rare. But they're all cool. So, but no, if I had to pick a guy, it's Sid. He does amazing work. So Sid, if you listen to this, great stuff, buddy. Keep it up.
He's the type of guy that will always help you out no matter what, and he usually never asks for anything in return, unless it's like an official project that you're working with him on. But for the most part, like he'll always, he'll help you out no matter what. Like, really quick story. and this obviously involves Sid coming to visit us here at this is like earlier last year. It was one of our first kind of meet and greets and stuff like that we had, and he came to my house and we kind of hang out on my layout. And I think that's the night we had like I was doing a live stream with Sid, like a Sid live stream. It was fun. It was a fun time. I do have to say that. But let me get back to my point here. I had a Alton Limited Pacific that I needed. I needed 4 chuffs, right? And Sid was coming out here, and he didn't have to like sit here and do work, but he's like, yeah, no problem. Bam, sits at my workbench, bam, 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 does it works his magic. Bam, here you go, 4 chuffs. I'm like, well, what can I do for you? What can I give you? He's like, no, don't worry about it. And that's just the kind of guy he is.
100%.
Yep, helped me the same way in Long Island. Got my my TMCC Southern Mountain. Boom, 4 chuffs in about a couple of minutes. So sweet to do that.
Yeah, same thing with Sid. I'll text him about stuff like just anything little, and he's always like, this one, or try this, or try that.
Steve, how about yourself on this question? Any picks from you?
There's a bunch of guys out there. Johnny, your artistic eye and the way you attack a project, it's just the quality of the videos is awesome. From a technical standpoint, I'd have to agree with it being Sid. And you talk about when he was here, yeah, he was in my workroom working on these different trains and whatnot. And I sent him a picture last night. I said, I had a little time. I went in, I cleaned the workroom out. I got rid of a lot of the extra stuff. I painted the floor, and I put it all back together last night. And he was like, oh, that's great, But you got Chris RBP, obviously Chris Montagna, Jason. They're doing so much for the hobby. Another one that we haven't spoke of, Peachy too. I think she brings a different view to it, and that's nice to see that the hobby has bridged across. Not just guys in the hobby. That there are actual females that enjoy this hobby just as much. But there's a guy down in Florida, Trainz of Lark. I don't know if any of you saw that Christmas special he put together where he had people put together short segments of what Christmas and trains, what it means. I mean, he did an excellent job on that, and I think there's another individual that's going to be setting, a new standard. The whole internet has brought so much to this hobby. I remember the days before the internet, and it was only through local connections that you met with people, but with the internet, it's opened it up worldwide. I talk to people overseas and whatnot, and as well as they follow me, and we chat back and forth. I think the hobby's got a bright future, and all of this social media is doing so much to promote it and bring us together as a tight-knit group. So that's my input on, the social influencers.
I totally agree with you, Steve. I want to do a really quick one as well. I can't believe we completely forgot this, but if I had to choose one person who has had the biggest reach over all platforms, Instagram, YouTube, the works, Bill B. 100%.
Oh, no kidding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I agree.
That's a great...
I was just thinking about him too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Bill is in every live stream, every post. He's in every comment, starring discussion.
So
and Bill goes above and beyond.
Oh, yeah.
He is. He doesn't just leave a nice video. He will leave you a full, proper comment saying what he enjoyed and wish you well. Always personally signs every comment.
He signs his comments. Who else does that? Nobody.
And Bill does something that is so, and this is going to sound so simple, but Bill will watch every video that you people post from beginning to end in a time where everyone just skips around the videos, and I'm just as guilty. Bill will sit there and watch your video from beginning to end to make sure that you get all the watch time and your video gets more time in the algorithm. Nobody's as big a trooper as Bill B. 100%.
No kidding. That's a great point.
Well stated, Johnny.
Oh, and Steve, can I just say that was such a sweet sentiment. Oh my gosh, I almost teared up. You talking to your friends overseas and everything. Lark, I actually submitted a video for his train Christmas celebration. That was a fantastic thing he put together. So I'm with you on all that. I'm with all you guys. This amount of support and love we just show all of each other is so inviting. You go out into the world and you have to deal with all manner of horrible things. To be able to have this to come back to, where we can all enjoy each other's company and just find peace and harmony and just relax in this setting, is such a blessing.
It's the happy place.
It is the happy place. Absolutely.
100%.
Enjoying this week's topic? You can join in on the conversation too on our community Discord server. We have a lot of different discussion channels, ranging from showing off your collection, discussing the latest and greatest in the industry, a buy and sell forum, and even a voice channel you can hop on call and talk trains with us late into the night. We're a little over 300 strong and we'll love to have you join us too. Check out the invite link to our community Discord down in the show notes. Read and acknowledge the rules, and introduce yourself and start chatting. We have a great team of moderators who make sure all are welcomed and respected. So what are you waiting for? Come on down and join us in on the fun, and let's talk some trains.
Well, does anyone have any closing thoughts? We're coming up on about almost an hour and 20 minutes here. Anyone have any last minute things they want to discuss? Anything any huge highlight for 2023, or maybe your favorite moment of 2023 that you wanted to just kind of quickly bring up and chat about?
Did you?
Well, okay, I got one I have to ask you guys.
What's up?
What are you hoping for in the new catalog?
Ooh.
What are you hoping for? Like your wildest dreams, most out there stuff. What are you hoping the Lionel gods are going to bless us with?
Oh man, that's a good question, Carmine.
Honestly, so I'll go first really fast, and it's something I've been harping on probably for the last couple of years. But and of course they did actually do it this year. But more streamlined steam engines. Like, there's such a lack of really nice streamlined steam engines that you can only get now from either old MTH or old Weaver, and that's about it, or Third Rail as well. But it's kind of hit and miss with Third Rail. But would really like to see, Hiawatha's. I mean, come on, there's so many streamlined steam engines that Lionel could be doing.
Yep.
I think they still have the tooling for. So let's see them. I mentioned the New York Hudson did, obviously, the Dreyfuss Hudson did well. So hopefully maybe that'll kind of turn some lights on, at Lionel and say, hey, you know what? Maybe people do want streamlined steam engines. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I swear that Sino Greenbrier, that thing was testing the waters for a scale Yellow Belly. I just know it. It has to be. Please, Lionel, please, Yellow Belly, please.
I think it was between either the Yellow Belly or an M1 turbine.
Oh, the turbine would be great to see again. I'm down for that too. That's an honorary Yellow Belly. Yep, definitely down for that as well.
But oh yeah, I think for me, I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said, man. I wanted Legacy E4, the Chicago Northwestern Hudson. I had the Proto 1, and I really liked that engine, but I knew there was nicer out there, and I would love to see a Legacy one of that with their IR tether,
the whole 9 yards.
The MTH one is a piece of garbage, bro. I want the blackened side rods, the darkened trim. Oh God, I want it all. Give it to me. Whistle smoke, Mars light, emergency light. Give it to me. Let's go.
Steve, what about you? What are you wishing for?
I don't know. I think I've overspent. So.
Well, Steve, it's next year. It's next year. You're good. You got some time still.
Yeah. I'm listening to all of the things you're saying, and I mean, I'm up for any one of those. I tell you, I enjoy each year they come out with something that tickles my fancy, and I find that even though I had one or I currently have one, I have to get the latest and greatest. Lionel lately has been, unbelievable in what they've been producing. The all of the effects and whatnot. It's just, awesome.
Well put. Well put.
What about you, Johnny? What do you want to see?
So I had to think about this for a second, but I'm
Daylights.
gonna say no, too many. We've had enough.
You can't not have
We've
more.
had enough. I don't want more. This is one that I think Carmine will 100% agree with me on. It's about time we see one made in 3-rail. I want an S160.
Yep.
I want S160.
Yep. 100% yes. I know Lionel's got 080 toolings laying around. Just cut the headlight off the front and glue an air pump to it. Give me something. I don't care.
For our listeners who
There's so many road names.
I was going to say.
Go ahead, John. You can explain.
For our listeners who might not know, an S160 is a this strange American-built military locomotive that was shipped literally all over the world to almost every country that we interacted with.
It is the Honda Civic of the railroad world,
or the Toyota Corolla, if you're me. But yeah.
Or the Toyota Corolla. Yes.
No, they are amazing engines, and you could do so many fun things with one of those. That's a great idea. Carmine, you'd be buying what 8 of the damn things, wouldn't you?
Listen, all I know is Lionel would need to include a special sound effect for the locomotive suicide pill, where you pull the pin. It's like, you're draining all the water out of the boiler. Well, we better get out of here fast.
Who turned out the lights?
But there's so many different road names you could do.
Yes.
Even you could do any of the British paint schemes, the U.S. Army paint scheme, Transportation Corps. The Alaska Railroad is restoring one of theirs. Great Smoky Mountain has one. TVRM has a Southern style one.
Yep.
There's so
the
many
610
different flavors.
is at TVRM.
Exactly. There's so many different flavors. There's one at Age of Steam Roundhouse. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
and if Lionel doesn't make one of those in a box set with repainted Hogwarts coaches, I swear to God.
Oh my gosh.
There's so much potential, and Lionel has made bank on U.S. Army steam locomotives and diesels in past. It's about time. You could make a brass hybrid one if you really wanted to go buck nutty with it, and they would sell. People are begging for these things. But yeah, that's my vote 100% for sure.
Yeah,
Also,
I agree with you, without a doubt.
Small steam. I mean, more small steam. Johnny, you and I were talking earlier today. Modernized 440s. Electric headlights, outside valve gear, all that kind of stuff. Give us more small steam.
Yep.
I'd love to see one of those Rock Island small steam engines with their weird Vandy tenders, like half Vandy tenders, like giant turtle shells. Those are so cool.
Yeah, just the obscure stuff. It's always good to see, and they've been doing more of that lately. To their credit, they have been getting more into some of the obscure steam and doing their research on that stuff. So it's been looking good. I think we're trending in a good direction. We're getting the colors back on track. It's looking good.
Oh, yeah.
It's a slow turn, but it's a turn.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll take it. I'll take it. A good question, Carmine. That was really great.
Yeah, no, I had to ask that because that's what's on everybody's mind right now with the new catalog coming out.
Great question.
Oh yeah, 100%. Anybody else have any other questions they want to finish us out with?
Matt, did you get to say your third Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come question?
Well, thank you for bringing that up. I'm actually going to leave that one for when we everyone does their outro social media. It's a really quick kind of blurb that you can give us. So I'll leave that for that side of things. But if anyone else has anything they want to bring up, now's the time.
I don't think so.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I can't think of nothing.
So we have an amazing community, and of course we'd like to take a moment to shout out to some fantastic people who boosted the server and helped us keep the lights on here at the Miniature Models Podcast Discord server. Hard work pays off. Dashing Dan's Trainz, Tim's Trainz, Every Day is Life, and SD70 Train Fan. Thank you, folks. We really, really appreciate it.
The last person on that list is actually special thanks or special shout out to him. Actually, I don't know if Steve and Carmine remember, but he was the guy who was on the Midnight Zephyr with us that we were chatting with.
Oh, that dude.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that's him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
He was the one that was fangirling over you, right, Johnny? He's like, you're Johnny, right?
He's like, wait, you guys are from the YouTube, right? Yeah, he's a great guy, and he's really active, so I want to give a special shout out to him since
cool.
we talked about that trip. He was there, and it was awesome running into him.
So we really appreciate you guys. It's the listeners, it's you who inspire us to keep this show going. So tonight was an awesome show, but I see our stop is coming up next. If you like to get more of us off of the air, where can folks find you? Now, for the guests and the host tonight, I'm going to ask you to plug something a little else with your social media. So what I want to know is your pick for a guest you would like to see/hear on the Miniature Models podcast that has not been a guest before. You don't have to do any explanation. Just, when you tell us your social media links, give us a name of who you'd like to see on the show that hasn't been on the show before. So I'll start out with Steve. Where can people find you, sir?
Well, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and it's just my name, no space in between, Stephen with a PH, last name Koferl. And boy, that's a tough question. Someone that hasn't been on the show before. I'm going to have to think more about that before I give my response.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to you. Carmine, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Facebook is on my business page, Photo Locomotive Works, or if you want my personal Facebook, it's Carmine Crudele. My Instagram is the same thing. It's Fairest of Them All, SRT8. And the person I definitely think you guys need to have on the show is my dog Bryce Mance, which is O-Gauge Train Lover on Instagram. He's got a wonderful Christmas layout, and he's just a very knowledgeable guy, and he's got a lot to share about the hobby. So he's one I definitely would like to see you guys get on here.
Appreciate that. Duly noted. Mr. John Schwartz, where can people find you, sir?
Thank you very much, Matt. You can find me at RetroMikado96 on Instagram and RetroMikado on YouTube. I'm getting ready to post my 2 big end-of-the-year videos, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. And as always, you can find me as well in our Discord at just RetroMikado. I'm always hanging out in there, having fun, shooting the breeze with y'all. It's always a good time. And as far as someone I would want on the podcast, man, let's think. All right, I'm going to throw it right back to childhood. I'm going to say Jeff from TM Productions. He has had, along with his father, Tom, they've had a massive influence on me, and I'm sure a lot of our other listeners in the world of radio out there. So he's one I'd love to see on at some point. Him or maybe Danny Harmon from the from Hair and Rail Fame and his own Distant Signal channel on YouTube. Those would both be great. I think just having some media folk on our podcast would be fun to have a little something different.
Excellent. Great choices. Johnny, how about yourself?
Oh, those are some great choices, John. Danny Harmon's also a really good one. He's got like the radio voice, like the voiceover voice.
Yeah.
You can't beat him. I remember I was watching some infomercials. Danny Harmon showed up voicing one of the infomercials. But you can find me on YouTube at Audamus. That's Audamus. I don't post there nearly as much as I post on Instagram, but I am currently working on a video about my Vision Line Big Boy and me pushing it through the limits of what really is the minimum curve radius. So I'm currently in the middle of editing that. If you want to see me torture a Vision Line Big Boy, you can subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for notifications. You can also find me on Instagram at Audamus_Trainz and Facebook by the same name. I post there a lot more, and if you want to see some of those fantastic photos that those guys here on the show were complimenting, which was very kind of them, if you want to see my work there or some of my weathering work, please follow me on there. And last but not least, you can find me on the Miniature Models Podcast Community Discord, where I am there reading and responding to your posts and making a fool of myself in the voice chat. So come on down. It's lots of fun. My nomination for the Ice Bucket Challenge, oops, did I say that? No. For the show is, I would probably say George from Soundtracks. For Blunami and all your videos, I want to chat with you. Sid and I want to chat with you, so hopefully we can have you on the show sometime this year. And also, I'd like to nominate Joe Stackler. We met him on the Nebraska Zephyr earlier this year at IRM, and I would also love to have him on the show since he showed interest. How about you, Matt Z?
You can find me on YouTube under Matt-Trainlover9943. Facebook under the same name. Instagram, Matts.hobbies. And, John said, always on the Discord chatting, having a good old time on there. For the podcast, I actually have two. And one of them is kind of a little out there, so I'll just start with this. Is Matt Bound from the TV show that was popular in the 2008 time frame was Extreme Trainz. It was a very knowledgeable show on the rear railroads and kind of how they worked. But another one I have that I know Johnny and I have talked about him in the past is Ray Manley. Rayman 4449 is his website name. He's a tech for MTH. He does repairs and all kinds of cool work with that, and he's mainly into G scale, but he's done a lot of really cool things, and I would love to chat with him and kind of get the inside story on working on models and all that sort of thing as far as the MTH side goes. So that'd be really something I would like to see, but we'll see what happens.
I thought you were going to try to plug like Bruce Springsteen in there, try to get him on the show. All right, so there's a third person.
Come on, we want some Bruce Springsteen. Come on now.
You want me home? Podcast.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You can find me on YouTube at WC Model Railroad, Facebook as WC Model Railroad, and of course on Instagram as WC Model Railroad. My pick it would be Dave Olson from Lionel. As a kind of a techie guy myself, I like to get into the nuts and bolts of things, and asking the head, pretty much chief engineer there at Lionel some technical questions would be pretty cool. Steve, did you pick somebody?
The only one I can really think of, and I don't think you've interviewed him, would be that young guy down in Florida, Trainz of Lark.
Oh no, we haven't. All right.
No, we can.
Yeah, great pick.
He'd be cool.
Really into trying to unite this hobby, and he's looking forward to getting. He's going to try to get up here next year. So hopefully, when we have the gathering, everyone will get to meet him.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to it. Yep.
All right, folks. Well, again, I want to thank everybody here, the hosts, the guests, everyone for listening to us, and of course our listeners. Again, we wouldn't do this if we didn't love doing it, and we appreciate your ears. But more importantly, too, if you're using any kind of podcast listening app that lets you leave any kind of feedback, we would appreciate if you can go into that feedback and leave us a comment, leave us a star, whatever rating system, that app uses, give us some feedback, because that obviously gets the show out there, throws us in the algorithm. It'll pop up on other people's, podcast apps that are looking for, model railroading, podcasting stuff. So we would really, really appreciate that. With that said, thanks everybody for listening, and have a wonderful night.
Good night, everyone. Happy New Year.
Good night, everybody.
Have a great week.
Take care. Have a happy New Year.
We'd like to take a moment here to shout out to some fantastic people who boosted the server this month and helped us keep the lights on here at the Miniature Models Podcast. So, of course, I should have that list up in front of me, right, while I do this.
I was going to say, you're very bold to say it without any list, Matt.
Yeah.